Okay, today we're going to replace the screen in this Dell Inspiron 5667 laptop with this new screen, which is a model number LP156WF4, parentheses SP, parentheses U1. Now, this laptop comes with a 1366 by 768 resolution TN technology LCD display or screen. The new screen has a resolution of 1920 by 1080, and it's an IPS technology, which has better viewing angles and better display characteristics, which is why I want to replace it. Now, there's some concern that the higher resolution screen will not work with this laptop. However, this laptop did come with the option of a 1920 by 1080 screen, and I've seen posts on the internet from people who say they've tried it. They've put 1920 by 1080 resolution displays into a Dell Inspiron 5667, replacing a 1366 by 768. So I'm optimistic that the graphics will work both in the BIOS and in Windows. So let's get started. Okay, so first of all, this is a very simple job. Here are the tools that we're going to need. We're going to need a small Phillips screwdriver, like the kind that would be in this kit, probably a number 0. We're going to need some kind of a utility knife, a Swiss Army knife, and we're going to need something to pry with. I also have a pair of tweezers just in case we need it. So the first step is we're going to remove this bezel. Now, on this particular unit, the bezel has a crack over here. That's not really a problem, but yours may not have that crack, and so it may look a little different. But basically what we do is we start by just grabbing under this with our fingernails, and it just snaps off. And actually, the fact that there's a crack on mine made it a little easier to get it started. Just carefully snap that off all the way around here, all the way down both sides. And once we do that, there we go. That was really the whole first step there. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our pry tool, and we may need to use the Swiss Army knife for this. We'll see if I can get this one in here. Let's try the Swiss Army knife. I'm going to use a small, narrow blade, the smaller of the two blades in this particular knife. I'm going to try to get under this thing right here and snap it up. Okay, so actually get it started. Once I get it started, I'll put the other screwdriver in there and then just carefully work my way along and snap that up like that. And once that's all the way across, then that bezel that we just loosened will come off. So actually, before we take this part off, we have to snap this off a little more. It's a little scary. It sort of feels like it might break, but it didn't. So now let's go back and repeat that step I just showed you earlier. And pop this up, go all the way across. And there it is. Okay, take that off. And there you can see this one's broken, but that doesn't matter. We're just going to set that aside. Okay, so next we're going to take our number 0 Phillips screwdriver, and we're going to remove these 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's going to let the old screen loosen that from the top of the case here. So I'll go ahead and do that. First one. I'll be careful not to lose these, of course, so I'm going to put them in the case here of the screwdrivers. So 1, that's 2, 3, and 4. And then the screen will flop down onto the keyboard. Just like that. Now we have one more step here, and that's to remove this connector. So we're going to first take this cable, and we'll use our tweezers and try to work this carefully out from underneath the little clip holding it there. That'll just give us a little bit of slack here. And then we're going to take, there's a little bit of tape, I don't know if you can see it, but this is a connector. That's hopefully a 30-pin connector on this one, because that's what I ordered. And we're going to take our knife, and you can use a utility knife or X-Acto knife. Just peel the corner of that up. Once we get that started, we can carefully peel the tape back. With our fingers. Don't want to tear it because we're going to use it again. And now we'll get that off. Okay, so now that that tape is off, we're going to remove this connector. Now, this is hard to see. In fact, if your eyes are aging like mine and you wear glasses, you might need to get a magnifying glass in order to see it. But there's actually a wire that comes around from the back here, goes along the front, and comes over on the other side there. I'm going to carefully put my knife under the edge of it and try to lift that up. Okay, so that's up now. And now that that's up, I think I can pull this connector out. And there it's out. So that's it. Here's the old display removed. See that? And so all we're going to do now is we're going to put in the new display in exactly the same method, but in reverse. So here's the new display. I'll take it out of the package. By the way, this was shipped beautifully packaged. Okay, so here's the new display. It's got some plastic on it to protect it. And there's the connector. And I guess we'll have to take this plastic off first. So we'll do that. It's got masking tape on both sides. Okay, actually, that was just a piece of plastic protecting the screen. Okay, so now we've got that off. And there's another piece of plastic. I think we can leave this one in. Let's see if that'll fit in there with that. Notice there's some alignment pins next to those 4 screws we took out. So when we put this new one in, we want to line it up on the pins. And right now I'm just doing that to test the fit. And yes, I think that'll work. So we'll take it off. I'll take that protective plastic and lay it down on the keyboard. In fact, probably should have left that on there until I put the connector on. So we're going to take the new one and lay it down on the keyboard just the way the old one was. We're going to take this connector. And again, if you've got aging eyes like me, this may be the hardest part. But we're going to just stick that in. Very small, very carefully, but with a little care, it just goes right in there. So now we're going to take that wire. We're going to try to, it's right now, whoops, it just came out again. So let's put that in. You're going to be careful to separate that tape from it. Okay, so I've almost got this in here, and I just have to put that little bail wire that holds it in, get this corner back on, and I'm using a knife, which is probably not a good idea, but you could use maybe your fingernail, and just want to be careful if you do use a knife not to scratch any of the small metal lands on the circuit board. Okay, managed to get it in with my fingernail there. Make sure that one's in good. I'll use the flat edge of the knife to press it down. Okay, and then we put this tape back on. And then we put that little wire back under the clip there. Use my tweezers to help with that. Of course, being careful not to damage the wire. There it is. All right, so now we are almost ready to put the display in, so let's do it now. I'm going to line those alignment holes up again. And this part might be easier if we use gravity to help us. So I'm going to take the whole laptop and lay it on its back like this. Okay, so that way the display lays flat down and gravity will hold the screws in until we get our screwdriver on there. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little bit of blue on the end of these screws, and that's actually blue Loctite. And it's a good idea to use some of that. So I'm going to pause the camera right now, go get some, and that'll keep the screws locked. The blue Loctite is the kind that's removable. They also sell red Loctite, which is not removable. And the difference is that you may want to change this again, so you want to use the blue Loctite so you can take it out. All right, let me go get the Loctite and I'll come back in a minute. Okay, I'm back, and here's the Loctite. Now, an oddity of the Loctite packaging is that blue Loctite comes in a red tube, and red Loctite comes in a blue tube. Isn't that strange? But regardless, it says the word blue on the blue Loctite. So these screws are very small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this plastic protector and lay that over the display, and then I'm going to put a Post-it note on top of that, and I'm going to put just a drop of the Loctite on the Post-it note. We won't need very much of it. Then I'm going to take my tweezers. I'm just going to dip the end of that in the Loctite and put it in the hole where it goes. And get that to stand up now. All right. Let's snug that down a little bit. Okay, so that's one, and then we just do the same thing with the other 3 screws. And if I should drip any, then that's why I put the plastic. Oops, drop that one. Get a little more on there. That's why I put the plastic sheet back over the screen. That way I don't have to worry about dripping any of the Loctite on the actual display screen. All right, that's the second one. 2 more. Just gripping that screw by the edge of the head with the pliers. Put that one in there. I don't know if it's 100% necessary to use Loctite, but that's the best way to ensure that the screws don't rattle loose. All right, so that screen is installed. And now we could put the bezel on, but I think I'm going to power this baby up and try it, since we did have a question about whether the 1980 by the 1920 by 1080 resolution screen would work in this particular unit, which came with a 1366 by 768 screen. So I'll just press the power button and see what happens. Well, there's good news. I can see the Dell logo in the BIOS. So I'd say that that's very optimistic. That was the part that we were worried wouldn't work. I'll just pause the camera while this powers up. Okay, the Dell logo just disappeared and the screen is actually black right now. Hopefully it's going to come up with the Windows graphics in a minute or two. And here it comes. It says, please wait. And this is all normal Windows startup stuff. And, oh, there's the beautiful graphics. So that's it. All we have to do now is put the bezel back on. And that's simply a matter of snapping it back in, starting with the bottom here. Let's take a look first and see how this works. Okay, I think I understand. We're just going to set that down in there, press it down, and snap it in all the way around. A little bit of problem because of the crack. There we go. Okay. That's it. Just make sure this is all snapped in, get all the way across there. And it feels like it's a little loose, but oh, there we go. Okay. Good. I think we're done. And that's how you install a new display in a Dell Inspiron 5667. This is an IPS display, 1920 by 1080. It did work, even though the original display on this unit. It was 1366 by 768 resolution. And once again, this display was item number LP156WF4, parentheses SP, parentheses U1. So that'll do it. Thanks for watching.